My name is Scott Galloway, Police Chief, Lafayette, Indiana. We want to welcome you to our 2024 recap of major events that happened in the city, in the police department, and go over our stats. Our uniform crime report stats are in. We've collected them. These are the Part 1 crimes. We want to analyze these and show them as transparent data for our community. So thank you for joining us today. So we're first going to start with our uniform crime reports, Part 1 crimes. These are 8 crimes, as you see: homicide, rapes, aggravated assaults, burglaries, larcenies, auto thefts, and arsons. We have analyzed these, collected them, and we are going to show you a trend from 2002 to the current date of years of these stats. So starting with the raw data, this year you can see we had 4 homicides. 2 of those were gun-related crimes. 1 was a stabbing. 1 was a death of an infant due to homicide. 67 rapes. Aggravated assaults, we had 346. 118 burglaries. 1,201 larcenies. 180 auto thefts, and 6 arsons. And we'll go through each of these, showing you the trends and where we ended up this year. Let's start with homicides. The most homicides we ever had in a year is 7. That's been back in the 70s. We also had that in 2020 and also 2023. This year, as we said, we had 4 homicides. 2 were by shootings, 1 was a stabbing, and 1 was an infant death that was a homicide. The next stat we cover are rape investigations. And as you can see, these went up to 67. Part of that reason is rape reporting rules. You'll see in 2022, also in 2024, rapes were up. That is for mandatory reporting, evidence analysis. So those are up. We also attribute that to people feeling more comfortable in reporting. Rape is oftentimes an unreported, an underreported event. So we're not glad to see those going up, but we are glad to see people are seeking resources and services to make sure we're investigating those crimes. Next, we have aggravated assaults. As you can see, it's kind of an up and down staggered stat. So in 2020, we had 326, dips down, goes back up to 352. In 2022, dips down. Now we're back up to 346. These are any time that you have an incident of a stabbing, somebody gets very injured. These are what we call aggravated assaults. These would be a shooting incident that has somebody getting shot with a bullet, a stabbing, some sort of major incident. These are what we consider aggravated assaults. So you see that we are at 346 this year. The next category I want to discuss is robberies. And you can see from a 2010 where we had 110 robberies to 2024 where we had 35 robberies, significant decrease. A lot of this you see coincides with the opioid epidemic. A lot of people were committing crimes, robbing, stealing, burglaries in order to fund their opioid epidemic, their opioid crisis. So it's very good to see robberies are down to that significant amount. Our next category I want to discuss is burglary. So burglary, you can see in 2005 was at a high of 781. That's a lot of burglaries. Down 2024 to 118. A lot of people are employing Ring cameras, or neighbors have Ring cameras, so when somebody commits a burglary, we are finding those and solving those crimes. So it does not pay. There's no return on investment for people to do burglaries. So we're glad that that is going down. And these don't catch a lot of media attention, burglaries or thefts, but they are important to recognize. When somebody's house is burglarized, that's very sensitive, that's very vulnerable. I've worked cases where people have had their house burglarized and they had to move out of that house because it was just so traumatic of an experience. So those going down matter. Larceny, or otherwise known as theft, has also decreased. 2003, we had 2,462 thefts. 2014, 2,542, down to 1,201 in 2024. We do understand that a lot of the job that we do in our outreach programs are to try to protect people's attention to details of their credit cards, of their banks, of their wallets when they're shopping, those type of things, to not be a victim of crimes. Next, we track auto thefts. So our auto thefts, a lot of times these are moped thefts or people that leave their cars running to warm them up in their driveways. There are ways to avoid having your car stolen. Keep your keys in your pockets or in your house. Lock your cars up. Don't leave them running and just hope that it's going to be safe because people will still steal cars. You can see they're way down from past years, but this is an avoidable crime. If you can keep your car locked, keep your keys out of sight, and not keep your car running when you're not there, it's going to be hard to steal your car. Arsons is another incident that we track. Again, with all these crimes, you can have one or two people committing robberies and really spike your crime numbers up. You can have several people or a small number of people committing arsons and spike your numbers up. So you see in 2022, we did have a group of juveniles committing arsons in the south end of town. That spiked that number up to 20. Didn't have that this year. So arsons are critical to investigate. They're very dangerous. Once a fire is lit, you don't know what's going to happen. So this is a very serious crime. I'm glad they're down to 6, and we hope to keep that trend going down. But our fire department does a great job. We appreciate them in helping us investigate. That number's down again this year from 20 to 12 to 6. So as we look at overall crime for 2024, I get a lot of phone calls saying Lafayette's not safe or these types of things. You can see by this graph that Part 1 crimes have gone down significantly every year, peaked in the opioid crisis at 3,803, down to 1957 this year. You see our trend over a year is statistically going down. You can see that trend line going down. This is large part to our community cooperating with the police department. It's due to technology and the services our police department provides. Our officers are well trained, and we are proud to keep this number going down. We don't like any crime. We don't like shootings. We don't like any of this any more than the public likes to hear about it. But we have to be transparent. We have to tell people what's going on. And you can see graphically how the crime is going down. Also keep in mind that Lafayette is growing, annexing new properties. People are moving here for our companies. We are a growing, thriving community. Even of that, you can see our crime numbers are going down, which is statistically significant that you have an increase in population and a decrease in crime that you can visibly see in these charts. As we've gone through the year on these recaps, we've talked really critically about shootings, driving those numbers down, getting the trigger pullers off the street. So we do have a graph and analysis of shooting incidents in the city. So we go back all the way to 2019, you can see an up and down trend. In 2022, we really assessed the problem that we were seeing an increase in shootings and put all of our resources towards that. Detectives, investigations, our operations, technology, really invested in driving down shooting numbers. We cooperated with the prosecutor's office to put attorneys in our building to help with these investigations, to make sure we're asking the right questions, gathering our evidence. And you can see a significant decrease in shootings and an increase in arrests for those shootings. So in 2022, I'll point out, that's when we started this initiative, and we had 42 shooting incidents. The red line are the number of people shot and killed with a weapon, and we had 42 of those total shootings, and we arrested 28%, almost 30% of the people that were involved in that. You can see a significant increase in the amount of shootings and the amount of arrests. So in 2023, 46 shootings, we arrested a little bit over half of those people that were involved in those shootings. These are very good numbers when you're talking about clearance rates nationally. And this year, the significance, I'm very proud of this. I'm very proud of our detectives, our patrol officers, our commanders, our operations division, our CSI unit, which we have put a lot of resources in. We've hired civilian CSIs, we've got technology, we've added equipment to help us solve these crimes, connect these crimes together. 31 shooting incidents and almost a 60% arrest rate. We are arresting people that are just firing guns up in the air. We're catching them with cameras, with community partners, with community help. So this is really critical in driving down that number of when somebody shoots a gun. We want them to be arrested. We'll do anything we can to solve that crime. So these are good numbers and a good trend. We talk a lot about shootings. The media picks up on these numbers. We want to amplify that we are arresting people that are shooting guns in any way, any reckless manner. We are actively and aggressively making those arrests. And the shooting numbers have gone down significantly. That is in large part to working with the prosecutor's office, the attorneys that are in our building, our detectives, catching people, working those cases, gathering evidence, and making arrests and getting them off the street. Now we want to talk about specialty units, other major events that went on in the police department 2024, special events, our outreach unit. The SWAT team was activated 17 times. SWAT team is activated anytime there's a high profile or a high risk warrant to be served, a high risk arrest, anything that would involve something that could be very dangerous. Usually when the SWAT team's deployed, the crisis negotiation team is deployed, sometimes independent of each other, but not very often. CNT was deployed 23 times in 2024. Our drone unit was deployed 20 times. Again, usually when the SWAT team, the CNT, and drone, those all three work in conjunction together. So anytime we have a critical incident, you can bet that those three are being deployed together. A lot of hard work, a lot of effort, a lot of resources. Our mobile field force, again, goes along sometimes with those three other teams. They were deployed 15 times. Many times they are used to do grid searches, other types of details that needs a team effort. So they were deployed 15 times. Our K9 unit seized $41,000, 850 grams of meth, 22 pounds of marijuana, 103 grams of cocaine, 20 grams of heroin, 10 grams of fentanyl, 10 firearms, more than 200 deployments leading to 175 arrests. In recruitment, we were very successful this year. 24 officers were sworn in, which is a record year for us. Building the police department is important with quality people. We are doing a good job in hiring the right people that the citizens want on the streets. We hired 11 civilians this year, and some of those civilian spots were brand new. So we are being innovative in using resources. Even though we have had a record year of hiring, we are still down officers, so there are positions still available. This is a wonderful job, wonderful benefits. It's great to work as a team. As civilian staff, we are full. We added 11 new positions. We are being very innovative, very strategic. We do have 2 dispatcher positions open, so if you're considering being hired as a police officer or a dispatcher, wonderful jobs, wonderful benefits, wonderful place to work. Please consider putting an application in. For outreach events, and these are great to connect with the community. I hope you've enjoyed attending some of these or watching them on our social media. We had our first Skate with a Cop. We plan on doing that again. Cops and Goblins, we had our second annual event in October for that. It was, again, a record number of people that came to the police station to enjoy being around police officers, other community members, other groups. Wonderful event, wonderful day. National Night Out, again, we'll have that this year. Kona with Cops. We had our first anniversary of the Public Safety Center being opened up. Junior Police Academy, Citizens Academy, and our National Police Week ceremony. We continue to have these events to engage with the community. 2024 was definitely a year to remember. Great year of success of solving crimes, working with our community, building our police department, enjoying the community that we live in, and serving the community that we live in. We hope you've enjoyed these recaps. Please join us every month as we go over stats, things that are happening in the police department, and also join us on our social media. We try to be as transparent as we can to show you what's going on in the police department, both the good things that happen for our outreach events, also the crimes and the things we're dealing with on the streets because you're dealing with it at home. So please give us suggestions, things you want to see, stats you want to see, and we'll be responsive. Thank you for joining us.